Hello and welcome back everybody for a webinar on embryology episode 3. The last 2 days we have discussed on first two parts of embryology. We are dealing with basic embryology these days and today is our third day. So this is a third episode on basic embryology. So I welcome you all once again and let us begin with today's
Good morning, sir.
topic. As you all know, that we are dealing with basic embryology. The first day we discussed about history of embryology and germ cells, that is gametes and fertilization. Then yesterday we studied about blastocyst, what we call after fertilization, formation of zygote and morula and blastula. I told about morula, that morula which is derived from word morus. Morus means mulberry, okay, not strawberry, mulberry. Mulberry is a very small as compared to strawberry. It is also called as tutu. So mulberry fruit, if you have seen, you compare it with the morula, and then blastocyst which is hollow, morula which is solid. These are all things we have studied yesterday, and today we are going a little further. Yesterday we also studied about formation of germinal disc. We studied about mainly formation of bilaminar germinal disc. The third is trilaminar. Third layer is to be formed, and we have seen some glimpses of that yesterday. So today we will study trilaminar disc and embryo. This is what is your topic of study today: trilaminar disc and embryo. And remaining two parts, F and G, we will study on next consecutive days. So we have to finish this topic today itself. So please do not disturb me in between. The trilaminar disc and embryo, we have discussed the three germinal layers, most two of them in detail yesterday. We have to study them in more detail because we have to know the derivatives of all three of these, germinal layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. You can see they are shown in color here: blue color, and pink color, and yellow color. We have studied gastrulation yesterday. So gastrulation is process of formation of three germinal embryonic layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So gastrulation begins in the same time as implantation. So after implantation, gastrulation doesn't come. So here one side the implantation is going on, at the same time gastrulation process is also going on. So it happens simultaneously. Please remember that. And there is no much time for that. No, the process has to be completed. All process has to be completed within the span of 9 months of gestation. So formation of three germinal layers means gastrulation. Ectoderms forms from epiblast and give rise to nervous system and epidermis. So these nervous system, epidermis are the derivatives of ectoderm. Endoderms forms from hypoblast and give rise to mucosae of the gastrointestinal tract and the associated glands. These are the major derivatives. We will come for the details of derivatives in the follow-through program today itself. And next, the last layer of germinal disc is uh, mesoderm. It forms between the epiblast and hypoblast and give rise to everything else in the body. Everything else means most of the connective tissues, muscles, all big viscera, everything is formed by mesoderm. We'll come to that again in detail later on. Let us proceed further with differentiation of trilaminar germinal disc. So first we'll talk about differentiation of ectoderm. So the ectoderm will give rise to neural tube, and the neural tube will form the central nervous system, what we call blastema of central nervous system, neuroepithelium. We get these derivatives from ectoderm. So formation of neurulation. Neurulation means formation of this neural tube begins of spinal cord and brain, neural plate to neural root to neural tube. You can see in this image how this neural tube is formed. This will give rise to the nervous system. So I told you that nervous tissue is a derivative of ectoderm. And here you can see the neural groove. This is a picture which will make you understand the neural groove. Okay. And because that is ectoderm and this is endoderm, in the middle there is a mesoderm. You can see neural groove. Okay. And one more, here you can see the neural groove, and behind it you can see the notochord, which is going to determine the central axis of the body, and later on a site of vertebral column that I told you yesterday. And here you can see closure of neural tube, which begins at the end of 3rd week and complete by the end of 4th week. Okay, it extends cranially, that is brain, and caudally, spinal cord. Neural crest, lateral ectodermal cells pull along and form sensory nerve cells and other structures. So this is a formation of the nervous system. I'm showing you the stages of formation of the nervous system, what is called as neurulation. Okay, so remember all this word: neurulation, gastrulation, gastrula, neural crest, neural tube, and so on. Well, now we have an image in front of you for the differentiation of ectoderm. In this picture, you can see anterior neuropore, posterior neuropore, neural tube, neural folds. So this is to show you only differentiation of ectoderm. Now, neural crest will give rise to blastema of peripheral nervous system, promephin cell, parafollicular cells, some of the bone cartilages, and also muscles of the head apart from nervous system. Okay, and plus on the skin, superficial ectoderm is formed from the superficial ectoderm is giving rise to your epidermis of the skin. After formation of neural tube, it's epidermis of the skin which is formed from the ectoderm. So what are the derivatives of ectoderm now? Central nervous system in the brain, spinal cord, and see the some of the bone and cartilages and muscles of head, and skin. Okay, skin means epidermis of the skin, not dermis. Not dermis comes from mesoderm. Now we'll go to differentiation of mesoderm. This is a second layer because it comes in between now. And third will be endoderm. Here para-axial mesoderm. So on the both the sides of axis, central axis. Okay. Somite from the head. Dermatome means dermis and hypodermis. These two layers are formed by the mesoderm. I told you epidermis is formed by the ectoderm. Then myotome means all skeletal muscles. Sclerotome means axial skeleton, means bone in the midline. Now intermediate mesoderm will give rise to urinary and reproductive system, and lateral most mesoderm will give rise to parietal mesoderm here, and visceral mesoderm, intraembryonic coelomic cavity. Now this is somite. Somite means body. Okay. Now differentiation of lateral mesoderm. So mesoderm is in 3 parts. So we are giving you separate. Now this is lateral mesoderm. Dermatome means skin. Sclerotum, parietal mesoderm, intraembryonic coelomic cavity, and visceral mesoderm. Now differentiation of lateral mesoderm, you can see in this image. Mesoderm begins to differentiate lateral to the notochord in 3rd week and extends cranially and caudally, above and below, from head to tail. Okay. Now division of mesoderm is into 3 regions. Somites means 40 pairs of body segments are formed by the end of 4th week, and intermediate mesoderm just lateral to the somite, and lateral plate are split to form coelom, that is cavity. Now division of the mesodermal lateral plate is into somatic mesoderm, means splanchnic mesoderm means opposed to endoderm. Splanchnic means organs, somatic means body, and coelom in between will become the serous cavities of the ventral body cavity. So there are body cavities, a peritoneal cavity, pericardial cavity, pleural cavity. We have seen that during the time of introduction of anatomy. So those are coming from coelom. Here you can see the folding of this. Now what we got, this gastrula. Sorry, gastrula means 3 layer of embryonic disc which is flat. Now it will go on folding. So folding is going on, you can see, and this yellow color is a innermost plate or layer. Okay, and that is called as endodome. So endodome has to go inside, and the bluish out ectoderm has to come outside. So ectoderm, mesoderm, endodome, you can see in this picture. Main difference between the 3-week embryo and the adult body is that the embryo is still a flat disc. So at the age of 3rd week of embryo, it is a disc and it is flat. And the body is cylindrical. So now for the sake of cylindrical body, they have to fold. So it gets fold, rolling or folding. And by day 23, beginning to fold happens, and lateral folds will join ventrally. You can see they are joining ventrally here in this image. A cylindrical human body plan comes by day 28. So day 28 means 2 days short of 1 month. So here the embryo is about only half centimeter. Half centimeter means 5 millimeter. Okay. Simplified cross section through the abdomen of adult, essentially the same as above. So this is an adult body, cross section is taken at the level of what you call adult abdomen, and this is at the level of same but in embryo. So you can see the similarity between these two. This is how we compare the fetus with the adult human body. Okay. And now the last part is differentiation of endodome. So endodome will give rise to epithelium of primitive gut. Primitive gut means primitive first GIT. Gut means GIT, gastrointestinal tract. Epithelium of digestive tract, digestive gland are the derivatives of endodome. Respiratory tract and lungs. So epithelium of respiratory tract and lungs is a derivative of endodome. And primitive pharynx. 5 pairs of pharyngeal pouches you get, like 5 pairs of pharyngeal arches we get. We are talking about pharyngeal arches and pharyngeal pouches in the last part of today's episode. And formation of primitive gut images are shown here. How the primitive gut is formed. Primitive gut means GIT. And you can see other structures along with gut. This is the gut, and here you can see the neural tube for nervous system. The outermost you can see ectoderm here, ectoderm for the epidermis of the skin and other parts of body. How they are determined at the end of 1st month. Formation of embryonic body from disc. The disc will fold and forms a column. Then the number of somites increase. Free face development take place. Formation of branchial pouch take place, and breach of buccopharyngeal membrane develops. By 5th week, upper and lower limb buds come, like how the trees give branches. Similarly, upper and lower limb bud come out, and by 6th week, hand and foot plates are formed, and by 7th week, the face is formed and somites disappear, and by 8th week, breach of cloacal membrane develops. So 8th week means end of 2nd month. And finally, we have finished all the differentiation of those 3 germinal layers. So gastrulation now, and the derivatives in detail we will see through this table. Here you can see the major derivatives of embryonic germ layers or germinal layers. It is very easy to understand. First, you understand ectoderm, and ectoderm here it is shown in a blue color. Everybody should know this chart. Okay. If you see the derivatives, epidermis of the skin is derived from ectoderm, and epidermis has got hair on it, nail is there are glands of the skin, so they are also forming from ectoderm. Plus, important and significant structure which is formed from the ectoderm is brain and spinal cord. Remember, and all the structures around the head and face, they are also formed from ectoderm itself. What do you call membranous bones also form from ectoderm. Neural crest will give rise to sensory nerve cells, some nervous structures like pigment cells, portions of the skeleton means bones of the face and head, all the flat bones, and blood vessels in the head and neck are also formed from the ectoderm. Now we go to the last, endoderm, because very little thing is formed from endoderm. We'll take last first. That is endoderm. It gives epithelial lining and glands of digestive system and respiratory tract. So GIT and RS. Okay. And that too epithelial lining, inside lining, not the bulk. Inside lining is only formed by endodome. Very little thing is formed by the endodome, and the remaining part of the bulk of the body is formed by the mesoderm. So it's huge. First is that notochord will be formed. Notochord will give rise to nucleus pulposus of intervertebral disc only, not bones. Bones are, I'll give other part of mesoderm. Let us complete notochord first. Then mesoderm will form somoid, and somoid will give rise to scleroderm, dermatome, and myotome. Scleroderm means vertebrae and ribs. Dermatome means dermis of the skin. Myotome means musculature of trunk and limbs. So this the somoid is a big volume of body. Intermediate mesoderm will give rise to kidney and gonads. Gonads means testis and ovary. And then lateral plate of mesoderm will give two portions, somatic mesoderm and splanchnic mesoderm. Splanchnic means all viscera, and somatic means part of the body. So we'll see somatic mesoderm gives parietal serosa, dermis of the ventral body, connective tissues of the limb, bone, joint, ligament, and splanchnic mesoderm will give rise to the visceral serosa, okay, and wall of digestive and respiratory tract also. So epithelial lining is by endoderm and the wall is by the mesoderm. See, compare the this yellow highlighted thing with this, okay. The heart is formed by a splanchnic mesoderm and blood vessels formed by splanchnic. So don't forget to take a screenshot of this slide, because this is more significant for you. Ectoderm, mesoderm, or germinal disc or embryonic disc is asked in exams, and you should at least write the important things of that. Same thing I am going to explain you in a form of text, like derivatives of ectoderm. First is surface ectoderm. The ectoderm you have in three types: surface ectoderm, neural crest, and neural tube. So surface ectoderm will give rise to epidermis and its appendages. Appendages means hair and nail and glands. Then plus a surface ectoderm will give rise to enamel of teeth. So enamel of teeth is by ectoderm. After enamel, remaining cementum is not from ectoderm. Lens of eye is from ectoderm. And internal ear is from ectoderm, and middle ear is not from ectoderm, and outer ear, external ear. Now neural crest will give us to ganglion cells of the nervous system and pigment cells of the nervous system. And neural tube will give rise to the brain and spinal cord. So this is the details of ectoderm. Now derivatives of mesoderm we have seen at length during the chart study. Here you can see paraaxial mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm, lateral part of mesoderm, and head mesoderm give rise to what? So these are the details of each type of mesoderm. We have discussed this during the explanation of that table. In a tabular form you have studied. The same thing has been brought here in a text form to show you more details of the mesoderm. Hope you got it. Now the last part is derivatives or derivations of endoderm. Endoderm will give rise to epithelium lining of the gastrointestinal tract, and that is stomach, small intestine, most part of large intestine, except caudal portion of rectum. Now parenchyma of the liver and pancreas is also formed by endoderm. So this is more details. Epithelial lining of the respiratory tract is formed by the endoderm, and the reticular stroma of thymus gland is also formed by the endoderm. So wherever there are exceptions, okay, that you have to also remember, like see, except caudal portion of rectum, which is caudal portion of rectum, which is formed by mesoderm. This is endoderm. Okay. Now next part and the last part of today's episode is pharyngeal arches. This is also very important for examination point of view. So you can all pharynx of adult person. Now this portion is a pharynx of adult portion. Here you can see this one. Okay, and pharyngeal apparatus you have to remember in terms of the following subheadings, like pharyngeal arches, pharyngeal clefts, pharyngeal pouches, and pharyngeal membranes. Out of which pharyngeal arches are most important and pouches are important. In examination, pharyngeal arches are commonly asked. So this is pharyngeal apparatus, subheadings which I am giving you, and let us see what is a pharyngeal apparatus. After folding, we have seen the folding in the earlier, part. The secondary yolk sac inside the embryo give rise to foregut, midgut, and hindgut. Foregut, midgut, hindgut means is the part of the GIT, and the foregut is divided into cranial part and caudal part here. Okay, cranial part and upper part and lower part. And cranial part extends from oral membrane to the laryngotracheal groove. It gives rise to part of mouth cavity, salivary glands, and pharyngeal apparatus. Here is the pharyngeal apparatus and respiratory system. So we are talking about pharyngeal apparatus, and it is a part of cranial. It is from cranial part of foregut. Foregut is upper portion. So it includes both the tract, GIT as well as respiratory tract. So what are the structures formed by pharyngeal arches? That I'll show you later on. The pharyngeal arches are 6 in number, and they are a curved cylindrical mesenchymal thickening on each side of the primitive pharynx. Primitive pharynx is the first pharynx which is present in the fetus. They develop in the head and neck portion, similar to origin and structure to the gills of fish. They are compared to the gills of fish. There is a diagram of pharyngeal arches here. And each arch consists of outer ectodermal covering, inner endodermal lining, and mesodermal core. Core means in the center. So same layer, again they come to form the pharyngeal arches. So you can see the pharyngeal arches. And they are also called as branchial arches because they are similar to gills of fish. So gill means branchia. Okay. Though there are 6 pharyngeal arches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Fifth is rudimentary. Fifth arch is rudimentary. Very soon it disappear. So how many arches will remain? Only 5 will remain. But the last arch is always called as 6th arch because 5th has disappeared. Remember that exception. So pharyngeal arches or branchial arches or apparatus, they develop in 4th week of intrauterine life. So it happens side by side. Okay, I told you simultaneous development take place. Here you can see the pharyngeal arches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, shown here, and this diagram is also showing you the details of the pharyngeal apparatus or branchial apparatus. In examination, this is commonly asked. Well, let us see what exactly pharyngeal arches are. In the 4th week of intrauterine life, a series of surface elevations, elevation means unsaute, appear in the lateral wall of the primitive pharynx caudal to the stomodium. So you can see here, this is the portion here, pharyngeal arches. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. And 5th is rudimentary, I told you. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. 5th is rudimentary. Ultimately, you will get 5 arches. Okay. Now, pharyngeal arches are initially 6 in number, but 5th arch is small and rudimentary and soon disappears. So only 5 pharyngeal arches remain, and from that we get different structures in the adult life. So we call them as the derivatives of pharyngeal arches. That I'll show in the next slide. Just like how we saw derivatives of those 3 germinal layers, similarly we have derivatives of pharyngeal arches, pharyngeal pouches. Now this is a buccopharyngeal membrane of primitive pharynx, which is shown above, and these are the wall of pharynx. This side wall and that side wall, and these walls are made up of endoderm, mesoderm, and ectoderm. See this diagram. In the last continuation will be, of course, esophagus, and here these pharyngeal arches, pouches, or clefts are formed. So here this diagram will show you what are the arches, what are the pouches, and what are the clefts. You can see these are the arches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5 is rudimentary. And in this diagram from lateral side, you will see pharyngeal clefts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and pouches, 1, 2, 3, 4. So arches are 5, 5th is missing because it is rudimentary, and clefts are 4, and pouches are also 4. So pharyngeal arches, pharyngeal pouches, and pharyngeal clefts, you remember the same area. Okay. This diagram will show you more details of that. You can see the pharyngeal arches. The blue, colored portion is a pharyngeal. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the pouches. Inside you can, clefts. You can see these are the pouches, and this brown color are the arches. Okay, you can see very clearly in this arch 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. 5 is rudimentary and clefts are shown in grip. Cleft म्हणजे चर. Okay, pouch म्हणजे फुगवटा. Now pouch म्हणजे sac. Cleft means like a cleft. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4 on the external side skin, and on the inside you will see these pouches, internal side. So internal means inside, external means towards skin. Now what are the components of pharyngeal arch? Pharyngeal arch is made of the core of the pharyngeal arch is made up of mesoderm derived from paraxial mesoderm and neural crest cells. The cartilaginous bar comes from the neural crest, and pharyngeal arch artery comes from aortic sac and a nerve. These are the components of pharyngeal arch. Now this is a very significant table which is showing you what are the derivatives of first pharyngeal arch. In examination also they ask you, or in MCQ also they may ask, the following are the derivatives of first pharyngeal arch, 1, 2, 3, 4. So one is correct and others are wrong. So for that purpose, there are skeletal derivatives, there are muscular derivatives, there are vascular derivatives, and there are nervous derivatives. Nerve from first is mandibular nerve, and maxillary artery comes in artery. You have not studied anatomy of head, face, neck, brain, so you not understand everything right now. But remember that first arch gives derivatives which consist of maxillary process and mandibular process, and these are its contained. Now here you can see second arch is hyoid arch. The first arch you can see is a mandibular arch. Mandibular means this mandible portion. Next is just below hyoid arch, this portion. It will give rise to skeletal derivatives, muscular derivatives, vascular derivatives, and nervous derivatives. Say the fifth facial nerve will now come in now, and here you can see stapedial arteries coming. The muscles like platysma, styloid, etc. They are coming in muscles, and stapes bone and some other processes of the bone are coming in the skeletal derivatives. So each arch will give you some derivative. And as you go further below, lower, the number of derivatives decrease. You can see here, third arch, fourth arch, and sixth arch. You can see the derivatives of third arch, fourth arch, sixth arch. Fifth arch is a rudimentary. Okay. For example, third arch will give in nerve section glossopharyngeal nerve. That's ninth cranial nerve. Fourth arch will give superior laryngeal nerve, which is a branch of vagus nerve, and sixth arch will give recurrent narrowing, which is again branch of vagus nerve. So at this moment you are not you are not aware of anatomy of head, face, neck, brain, but at least you remember that these pharyngeal arches are going to give structures here in this region. So after studying head, face, neck, brain, again you come to the arches and just revise it, and everything will be okay. And what are the pharyngeal pouches? The pharyngeal pouches are balloon-like diverticula that form on the endodermal side between the pharyngeal arches. Endodermal side means internal side of the pharynx. The pairs of pouches develop in a craniocaudal sequence between the arches. The first pair of pouches lies between the first and second arch. So there are altogether 5 arches because one is missing, so 5 arches. So in between 2 arches, one pouch will form. If these are the arches, these are the pouches. Okay, so 4 pouches. There are 4 well-defined pairs of pharyngeal pouches, and the fifth pair is absent, or after this is absent, just like arch. Now, what are the pharyngeal clefts? Clefts are also called as grooves. Sir, in the 5th week of intra-abdominal life, 4th cleft is seen. The first cleft give rise to external auditory meatus. The epithelium of the bottom forms outer layer of the eardrum. These are the derivatives of clefts. So clefts means those are the grooves, and they are also 4 in number, but on the outer side, towards the side of skin. Here you can see the derivatives of clefts. In adult, first cleft will give rise to a external auditory meatus. Second, third, fourth, they disappear. The pharyngeal membranes, which are part of clefts, they will give rise. First will give rise to tympanic membrane, means eardrum. Second, third will disappear. The derivatives of pharyngeal pouches means first pouch, second pouch, third pouch, and fourth pouch. Each is giving different thing. For example, palatine tonsil, which is an important organ, is given by the second pharyngeal pouch. Thymus gland is given by third pharyngeal pouch. There are other things. You can superior parathyroid gland. There are 4 parathyroid glands. So superior parathyroid gland are given by the 4th pouch, and inferior parathyroid gland are given by the 3rd pouch. You can see here. You can see here. Okay. So this is how you remember when you learn every part of head, face, neck, and brain. This will go easy for you. You come back once again for the derivatives of pharyngeal arches after studying head, face, neck, and brain. And my dear students, with this, let us talk about the summary of the pharyngeal apparatus or branchial apparatus. Branchia is equivalent to the gills in fish, how the structures are found in the fish. Similarly, it is in human beings. So pharyngeal arches are 5 in number because 5th is rudimentary. They are 6, but now we count them as 5. Present in lateral wall and floor of the primitive pharynx. This pharynx portion V shape. Eventually, you are going to get a esophagus downwards and the trachea also. The pharyngeal clefts are 4 in number because they are present in between one arch, between 2 arches. One cleft between 2 arches. Similarly, pouches, 1 between 2 arches. So 4 in number. They are present externally, towards the skin, between the arches lined by ectoderm. And pharyngeal pouches are 4 in number. They are present internally between the pharyngeal arches lined by the endoderm. Okay, so that is why I showed you the example of my fingers. If these are the arches, these are the pouches from inside, and these are the clefts from outside. The pharyngeal membrane means they are 4 in number again and located between the adjacent arches. So I have talked about full pharyngeal apparatus, all the pharyngeal arches, all the pharyngeal pouches, all the pharyngeal clefts, and the pharyngeal membranes. From this, pharyngeal apparatus can be a question for you in exam, or mostly exams are posed on pharyngeal arches, or sometimes MCQs or short and question answers are asked on first pharyngeal arch, second pharyngeal arch, any arch. So you have to know this in much details. Later on you can come to that. And my dear students, at the end of 8th week, means completion of 2nd month of intrauterine life, or by the end of 2nd month of gestation, pregnancy in case of a woman, and intrauterine life in case of a fetus, you will get a small human being. You can see here. Okay, everything has formed. Everything is formed. Now everything small that will develop further to a normal size in the remaining 7 months. Okay, so by the end of 8th week, you will have a 56 plus minus 1 day, 57, 55 to 57. At that gestational age, 34 to 40 millimeter is the size of that fetus. So 40 millimeter means 4 centimeter. So 4 centimeter is the size of this fetus. In inches, it is 1.5. Okay, 1 1/3 inches to 1.5 inches in case of inch, but in case of millimeter is 40 millimeters, more or less 40 millimeters. 4 centimeter baby you get. And I think that we have completed today's topic as far as the trilaminar disc and the development of embryo is concerned. I told you embryonic age is of first 2 months that we have finished, and the remaining part, the fetal age, fetal part, we will study from tomorrow onwards. We have 2 more days to complete this basic study of embryology. And with this, I thank you all for patiently listening me, and we'll come back tomorrow again with the study of embryology episode 4. Till then, bye to all of you, and have a nice day. Let us come back tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Thank you.